And get right to questions. Your first one will come from Jason Kersey of The Athletic, and then we'll go to Joe Bettner. Jason, go ahead.
Hey, DeMarco, good to see you. Well, wanted to just ask you about the experience of the last year. You get hired and then immediately everything shuts down. How difficult was it to have your first year be that year?
It was difficult looking back at it, but that's a part of the game, and there's no excuses, and you got to get your job done, and that's how I've always approached my career, my life. But we're obviously part of many that kind of dealt with the same. But being a new coach and not having the spring, not having a chance to recruit and go on the road and really form those relationships was obviously difficult. But hey, you got to live with it, and and thankfully for us, we spent Coach Lincoln, did a great job at just, rallying the troops and just really being informative on everything, and really always us as a program, as a football team, whether it's our team or in the recruiting process, has always been a step ahead and making sure that, we're ready and are all on the same page.
Thanks, man.
Okay, Joe Bettner, Norman Transcript, and then Eric Davis.
DeMarco, I want to ask you about your newcomer, Eric Gray. Just wondering what that process was like, getting him on campus and how he's looking so far and what kind of main contributions he can make to this football team.
Oh, yeah, the first word that comes to mind about Eric Gray is a pro. He's a true pro on and off the field. He's a guy that shows up early, stays late, extremely smart. The transition for him offensively, scheme-wise, has been very honestly easy for him. And our offense is extremely complicated. I'm still obviously learning every day, but you can just kind of tell his professionalism, his approach to the game, and what he wants to accomplish. And it's been great. He's a heck of a player, great person, great young man. So, we're fortunate to have him here.
Thanks, DeMarco.
Okay, Eric Bailey, Tulsa World, and then Ryan Abrams.
Hey, DeMarco, thanks for your time today, man. When we talked to Ramondre, he said that he told us that he had a lot of tread left on his tires as he prepares for the NFL draft. What's the balance of advising a player that it's time to get his pro career started at a very physical position versus staying in school and maximizing your draft stock?
I think you got to look at the overall, the player and what he's done. I think Ramondre, obviously missed the first part of the season, and when he did come back, he was the best running back in the Big 12 in this conference, and a top running back in the nation. And I think sometimes you got to kind of strike while the iron's hot, and for him, I think he did that with his family and things of that nature. We obviously gave him some information to help make his decision easier. So he's obviously, when you talk about running backs and carries and things of that nature, those things add up, from high school to college. Obviously, all those numbers are important. And, he was a guy that, stayed extremely fresh, stayed healthy. So, you look at that and you look at kind of, this past year, for him as a player. And, I think for him, it was the right decision. And, we support him, whatever decision he made. Obviously, we would love to have him back. But I think Ramondre is a great player, and I think he's going to do really well at the next level.
DeMarco, thanks. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Over the Oklahoman, and then Kerry Murdoch.
Hey, DeMarco, you touched on a little bit with Jason's question earlier, but what was it like recruiting over the last year as you acclimate to that new spot, and how were you able to overcome some of the challenges that the recruiting restrictions presented?
Yeah, it's hard. Just from an evaluation standpoint, for me, I had never seen, and really honestly still hadn't seen, a lot of the running backs in person that I'm recruiting. So all you kind of get to go off as highlights and, some 7-on-7 films and things of that nature. So it's a little hard. You got to, really, get a different eye on them sometimes, with Coach Riley and, Drew, our player personnel guy, even, Bill and Coach Gundy. So I've weighed heavily on those guys just to get a second opinion, third or fourth opinion on certain guys, because obviously they've seen some of these guys in person. But We were always a step ahead in the process with recruiting, and they did a great job. Our team here and us as a staff, we all kind of came together. But not being on the road and really not being able to see people in person, it's a little hard and frustrated. But hey, we attacked it. We were positive about it, and we were one of many, obviously, that had to deal with the same situation.
Appreciate it, DeMarco.
Barry Murdoch with Sooner Scoop, and then James Hale. Carrie, you're muted.
I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. Hey, DeMarco, how you doing? I was wondering if you could talk about kind of your approach with a guy like Seth McGowan, who was a freshman, kind of learning his what he can and can't do against this level of competition. What was it like for you, kind of working with him last year, and how much growth have you seen from him after playing last year?
His first year was, he's a player when you first look at him from working out and practice. I mean, he's going to jump off the field. He's going to jump off your eyes. I mean, he's explosive. He's fast. He's physical. He's versatile. But as a young player, you obviously got to learn the scheme. You got to learn patience. You got to learn, the offense. And for him, he's an extremely smart kid, obviously talented. It's just for him, he has to take it one play at a time, good, bad, or ugly. He can't, as a freshman, you have a lot of highs and lows, so for him, being a second-year player is going to be extremely helpful for him. Obviously, this spring, getting more reps, more experience, learning the offense, and continue to grow as a person. But he's extremely versatile. We're happy to have him. And just the most important thing as a freshman, you just got to learn patience and just kind of learn the scheme and really how to run the ball in this offense.
Thanks, DeMarco.
Okay, James Hale, KREF, and then Chandler Engelbrecht.
Hey, DeMarco, great to see you, man. Through recruiting, OU's always, it seemed like to me, tried to find different styles of running backs in their running back room if they could through recruiting. So I'm curious, as you look at this group that you currently have going through spring, do you have that? Talk about your room and the styles and, of the running backs that you have.
Yeah, we have a lot of competition in my room, which that's what I want, and that's what we want as a staff in each position. You add a guy like Eric Gray, who's versatile out of the backfield. He's probably one of the most natural catcher and receiving running backs that we have now. But for me, I always want to have a versatile back. I want to have different types of back that complement each other. Don't want a lot of the same guys, and so during this recruiting process, that's what you kind of look for. You look for some more kind of lightning, we got a lot of thunder, and some power, and we got some speed, so we want to continue to get faster, continue to get stronger, and just be more versatile, at this position.
Thanks, DeMarco.
Thanks, James.
Chandler Engelbrecht, OU Daily, and then John Hoover.
Hey, DeMarco, thanks for your time today. I'm curious, now that you're 2 years into your coaching career, have you noticed any major changes in the college game today opposed to back when you were playing?
It's a long time. I feel like I played a long time ago. Just the RPOs. I think, the RPOs is a lot bigger now than they were back when I played. We ran a little bit, but not a lot, so I would say just the speed. The speed is obviously a lot faster now, and these defenses are so much more versatile now than they were back then. Back then, it was just a simple over even front and blitzing here and there. But now, they come all over the place. So the defense is a lot more versatile and a lot more complicated than they were back in the day.
Let's go to John Hoover with SI Sooners, and then Joey Helmer.
Unmute. Okay, I think I'm unmuted now. Hey, DeMarco, you talked about Eric Gray being a true pro on and off the field. You talked about him being smart, and you talked about him being versatile. Does he kind of remind you of yourself a little bit? Has he got that kind of game where he could return kicks and he can catch passes out of the backfield and he can stand up and block if you need him to, that kind of thing?
Yeah, he can. He's a guy that obviously did some punt return and kick return back at Tennessee. So He can do a lot of the same things that I've done. I would say the one thing that he needs to continue to work on is his pass protection. He's not afraid. He's a physical back when he needs to be, but just technical. Just technique wise, I think we're going to clean that up for him. And like I said, he's been really good for our room, really good for our team and our offense specifically. But he's just a guy that with the demeanor that he has, very similar to mine, quiet guy. He's about his business. So I love working with him. It's a privilege to come every day to work with him and make sure that he's continuing to get better. He's continuing to compete. And but no, he's an extremely versatile guy. But we plan on using him all over the place.
Appreciate it, man.
Definitely.
Two more questions. Joey Helmer with OU Insider, and then Josh Calloway.
Yeah, one of the guys we haven't talked about yet is Mikey Henderson, moved into your room. So what have been your thoughts on him so far this spring?
Mike, have we announced that? Is that out in public?
Yep. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that. I'm far behind. Yeah, Mike has been great. Yeah, he's been great. He's a natural runner. He's a guy that in our room, once again, him and Eric, when it comes to receiving and route versatility, those two are probably the best. And that's what we want. Once again, I want a guy that obviously you can run the rock as runner. That's your job. But you want a guy that you put out and slide, put out at outside to obviously create matchups with linebackers and safeties that that creates a lot of mismatches. So Mikey's he's done a great job, thus far. Obviously, still early. We've only had 6 or 7 practices in, but every single day, the most important thing, he's continued to get better and better. He's a great kid. He's a great kid. Works hard every single day in the weight room and in practice. So we're excited about him.
Thanks.
Okay, last question. Josh Calloway with Sooners Wire.
Yeah, DeMarco, just curious what it's been like for you to have a former teammate around Jon Finley joining the staff. Just, I guess, how that's kind of been for you, and if you've helped him, I guess, adapt to being a coach at his alma mater or whatever.
Yeah, no, he's still helping me. He's had a couple more years on this coaching deal than me, but no, it's great to have Jon, a great friend of mine that we were close when we played, and obviously we've always kept in contact. But smart guy, man. He's smart. He's been around a lot of top offenses, so he's constantly bringing in new ideas from the run game, from the passing game, blocking game, whatever it is. So it's great to have him on staff. Great to obviously have another Sooner on staff that kind of knows his place and just the tradition behind it, and what we're looking for. So he's a great acclimation to our staff, to our offensive staff in general with our personality. So it's going to be great for us.